This Daf Yerushalmi Shabbos, the article Ozbar additional Daf Yud Beis Amud Aleph, right at the top, in the Shagosu, which is about 10 lines down on Testament base in the Vilna. And Shagosu, if you recall yesterday, that the Rabban Kisarian said that those 18, which you said were outright Xeris, 7 of them are among those which they fought about. Okay, so therefore we have um, uh, need to make up the 18 Xeris. We're missing 7, right? So Elin Shagazu, these days when they made the Xeris, Elin Ashwate Kamaisa, the first 11, right? We deducted 7. Vashar and the rest, mean Maditani, they're among those which are Rishim Bar Chai taught us. Now, Rishim Bar Chai has more than 7. He has 8, in fact, 18 Xeris here. And they're so among them are the 7 which were there goes Babayom. The Ravan evidently actually says, the Yerushalmi Shabbos brings it down, that these are the actual 18 Xeris, according to and the 18 Xeris were Xeris on distancing between Jews and non-Jews. But it's difficult to see how that fits into the language of the Yerushalmi. But, okay, so the Ravan is the Ravan. So let's see. Bashar, the rest of them, mean mad the tiny from that which you know, Shimon Chai said, Boba and Gozo Piton. They were made decree on bread of goyim, kavinasan on their cheese, valyenim on their wine, chumsan on their vinegar, siran on their brine, muryasan. The muryas is kind of like a fish brine, which they used to put in wine. I'm not sure the difference is between sear and murias, but sear, the issue was they might put in brine from Doug Tame, and murias is the issue they might put in wine. Akbushan on their pickled dishes, al shluken on their cooked dishes, val muchen on their salted dishes, val hachilka. Chilka is a type of small fish, which might tray fish might get mixed in. Valashchika, stuff which is ground up, because he might have ground other stuff into the mutter stuff. Valtisne, it's kind of cereal. We pound up with grain, and evidently some type of pounding some type of other substance. Val l'shainan. Says person should not speak in Goyish. That's the Moshe says al l'shainan v'alei dusan. The next thing, davar echad, is one thing. We don't rely on their expressions, meaning it's not about their language, but about what they say in their discourse. That we don't do so. Okay, so the Bnei Moshe is trying actually to fit all these things into all the 18 of the Rebbe Shimon Bar Chai into 7. So therefore, he is counting them and combining them. It's more masha the carbon 8 that they're separate things, and some of them make up the count which are missing. Once many years ago when I was learning Kollel, and we went to produced a newsletter, nice newsletter. Not just a newsletter; it was like a miniature kovetz in English. And went to a local rebbe, and we could see he was displeased, and we wondered why he was displeased. And he said, "If you have to, why'd you publish?" He said, "Why'd you publish in English?" He said, "If you have to publish in English, chachin to brachner English." And this is a revelation to me, because until then I thought that Hasidim don't talk a proper English because they were raised not speaking proper English. But it became clear to me that no, it's a matter of principle. As he said, "To zayin anders minag from the goyim." To be different from the non-Jews, you should deliberately speak and write in the Tzubrach in their English. And this obviously is the source for yeshivish. So that is the idea according to Carbonata, evidently, to be Mishan and not to speak Lashon Akum. Okay, could be, of course, that obviously everything depends on circumstances, and that and could be just simply a plug and speak Hebrew like we had before. And they say you're supposed to speak Lashon HaKodesh. All right, in any event, Vaidusan, but on their edus, not to rely on their edus. The emotions says Shem Kala edus afilu meisich levitum, even they're saying something innocently. El edus yushuvad, only in order to allow a woman who is not going to go free. Va'amad noseyan, and on their matonos, that we shouldn't get to accept gifts from them. Va'al b'neyan, that the al b'noseyan, that they should not frequent their sons and daughters. And the sons that are going to always considered to be zovin, and their daughters are considered that they should be also to have relations, even if it's not through marriage. Va'al b'chorein, and the Koran, according to the Moshe, says that is evidently the first gezerah was initially that they're just separate from the children, and then they're going to them ziva afterwards. The Karmei says Bikurim Shamocha Karka Akum Yovi Bikurim in a Karka. If you sell land to a non-Jew, you have to still bring Bikurim from that Jew, from that land, in order that you should make sure to acquire that land from the not back to the non-Jew. So it's either Abu Choran, according to Bnei Moshe, it's on their children, Bechor, not just the Bechoros, but other children as well. And according to Bnei Ada, it's Bikurean. Seems more likely because then it's not redundant with Bnei and Piton. Okay, so now we're going to go through some of these Gezeros. Piton, their bread. Rabbi Yaakov Hashem Yosef Me'alocha Shel Imum Zeh. So Alocha means happens frequently. Imum, it means unclear, and that means that something is not as it seems. There's something which goes on here which is unclear, as the Carbon Ada puts it. They made it unclear, and they diminished its U. It's HUE. The V'nei Kaham B'Tagamina Amya. So saying when something grows fainter, it's called Amya in Aramaic, and the halacha became fainter. What does that mean? So when it says Ma Mechashem Ma'umim, what is the I skipped. I'm Rabbi Yossi Kashisa Kam Rabbi Yaakov Barcha. Yesterday I asked Rabbi Yaakov Barcha, Ma Mechashem. Is it, what's the pshat that says imum? Is this the pshat? Kachon normally, because we say Mokasha Paso Mitsuya, a place where there's Jewish bread is prevalent, bread baked by Jews. But Nina Yoshete Pas Akamasura. So the letter of the law should have dictated that non-Jewish bread should be on. So if Imu Aleh, and they made it more faint, V2, and they permitted. Mokasha Paso Mitsuya, and that would be imum Lakula, or it's Mokashem ain't positive. So it's to be that place where non-Jewish bread is, where Jewish bread is not prevalent. Binil Shetei Pasag, what there's really Pasag should be permitted. Imalev Asura, and they made it unclear, and they made it darker in the sense than they answered it. Amray Ramana said, "Yesh imum le'isur." Is there such a thing as imum? Even though Ramana asked this question, the Ramana does give now an example of what imum le'isur would be. Then rejects it. Says Pasaf Tavshili Akumu, bread should be the same like Bishul Akum. When it's baking, when it's cooking, it should be the same. Kachanu Omrin. Do we say like Kachanu Omrin? Do we say like this? Makush Ain't Tavshili Yisrael Mitsuyin, that place where you can't find Bishul Yisrael. Mudinu Shei Tavshili Akum Mukutarim. That it should be logically dictates that the Tavshili Akushim Mutar. No, right? They were Amem, and they answered them. So that is an example of Imum to Al-Asar. Yes, there is such a thing as Imum Al-Asar. We find that by Tavshil Akum. Despite the fact that you can't find what to eat, it's Asar. So yes, there is a such thing as Imum Al-Asar. But nevertheless, here it's not like that. Al-Kani, here, B'Makum Shem Paso Mitsuya, here, it's the place where Paso is not prevalent. B'Dinu Shadei Pas Akum Asura. We should also say the same thing like Tavshil Akum, that it's Aser, despite the fact that Pastor is not Motzoi. Vima Levi too, they're Chayi Nefesh. But here they're Amim and they're Matir because of Chayi Nefesh. So yes, Rabbi Mona, there is such thing as Imum Lesor. We have such a thing by Bishul Akum, right? They answered it. But here it's Imum Lahatir. And here we're Matir it, and we said that even though theoretically it should still be like Bishul Yisrael, and it should be Aser, even there. But Bishul Yisrael is not Motzoi. There's still it's like Bishul Yisrael, or Bishul Yisrael, even though it's not Motzoi, it's still Aser Bishul Akum. Here, because Chay Nefesh, since bread is the Iker Chiyus, so therefore they were Mamim and their Matir and said it's not like Bishul Akum, with Makom Shein Pasor, so you're allowed to have Pasakum. Okay. Rabban Kesar Mishem Rabbi Yaakov, Mishem Rabbi Yaakov Baruch said, "Kedivrei Mishu Matir." Yes, it's mutter Pasakum, Vamina Palter, but only from a baker. The law Havdin came, and they don't do like that. The Korban Eder says, "Perish lo nagin Rabban Kesarin." We don't have not a custom like Rabbi Yochanan, like Rabban Kesarin say only pas palter. Ochin afmi pas balabais. Makom she pas dochel. It's hard to find bread. You can even have from the bread of a non-Jewish balabas, and that's the Rishonim argue. The other Rishonim would say l'chumra, that lo din kain, that they're not even make on pas palter. Okay, but the even a place where pas Yisrael is not motzi, there are people who are not making to have pas palter. So we have both Pshat and Yerushalmi because it's ambiguous, right? Loving Cain could be that, like Korban Eder says, that we're making even from Batim, and could be the opposite. That some people say they're not machmir even at that from a palter. Evidently, it's Malu between the Rash, who says it's the Chumrah, and the Or Zarua, who says it's the Kula. Now the Gemara says that they Amakum Rabbi Chia Ruba. They said in front of the Chia Ruba a drush named Rabbi Shimon Bar Chai. Tani Rabbi Shimon Bar Chai Ochel Tolitiruma Yitam Bekesel Chaltem. Food you can buy from the you're passing through. I forget which. Was I'm a Moab Edom. Or show him the article. No. Let's just find base Vav. Who's this in front of? B'nai Seir. Okay. We're going to B'nai Seir. So the says you can buy from them food, and we got mine to Gomer. You also buy water. So, of course, this is before the Issa of Bishul Akum, but Shimon Bar Chai darshan this as some presuming a smachta. Just like water is something which didn't change, never changes, and therefore there's no issue of Bishul Akum by water. I've called it so to anything which hasn't changed, you can buy, not something which has been changed by cooking. Hey Sivun, they asked. So Hare Mutali, and this is actually Sivun seems to be Rabbi Chia Ruba asking, right? He said, how can you say this? Hare Mutalia Upenkarisin v'kubutus v'cholius v'chamin shem Hare Elu Mutarin. So it says that the mutalia, which is a type of seed, pancreas is capers, kubutos is a type of cress, and close is toasted grain, and their hot water, they're all mutter. Nichakulan. So I said, okay, I understand all that according to Shemachai makes sense. You can soak them, and they'll go back to their original state. But and therefore, they're not nishtana b'yosam because they can be reversed. But however, kleos, toasted grain, why would he lama? Why would it be mutar? So it's a good question. The Shas brings down that the Shitas, the Yerushalmi, is that anything which is not eaten in the lafi supposed to pas doesn't have a Easter bishul akum. Anything which is eaten, not eaten as accompaniment to bread, does not fall into the status of bishul akum. I found the circumstances and the pas akum, which is a different parameter, but not on the status of bishul akum. So kleos, toasted grain, you don't eat together with bread. Because I think it's Rabbi Yirmiyah says the Bible somewhere. Honey, the nama. So therefore, the issur of pas akum does not bishul akum does not apply to kleos. The Bill Springs on Yeshua said the Rambam says because it's not olo shulchan malachim. But in any event, here it's not answered. Okay, lama, why is it pre mutter? Rabbi Yisrael, same Rav, same limitation by Chai, only not based on the pasuk. Kol ochel shu nechal Chai kamo shu, any food which is keeping raw as is, ain bo mishum tavshili akum. There's no type of bishul akum. Yet, nevertheless, if a non-Jew does make it, yotzim bo, you can still be yotzim mishum erev tavshilin. It can considered to be a cooked dish in terms of erev tavshilin. Okay, so Rabbi Chiru did not like Rabbi Yoshim by Chai's drasha. I guess in a smach, not sure why it was so, okay, but in any event, Ma'akam Rechia Ruba. Well, how does Rechia Baruba dash in that pasuk? Ochel tishbu meitam. Bread you should buy from them. So he dashes that, but ochel tishboru. The says it's the Ashaydet Shachir Mimacha Tishbar Libo Ha'arel. If you have a fight with somebody, you break him by giving him food. Hachalto shavarto. If you gave him to eat, you're going to break him. Shekasha alecha. If it was hard for you, Karmei changed that word from ochel, but ochel tishbaru. Break him by feeding him. Now, like you say, Rav Sanocha Chilel Lechem. Bim Lav, and if not, Harbe Chilel Kesef. So then, turn him over by paying him off. Yerushalmi Shabbos brings down beer instead of hachre with an ayin, hachre with a hay, like pile money on him. In other words, avoid the fight. Find a way to break him by feeding him or by paying him off. I mean, kind of a Rabbi Yonasan Avad. That's what Rabbi Yonasan used to do, and meaning that he used to give gifts in order to make peace. Banish Rav Alila Karte, when he saw a great person coming to a city, which is, he was afraid that this great person would cause strife and other issues. So what did he do? Have a Meshachli Ayakrin. He would send him precious gifts of food in order to show him honor. Kikoran says Kalim Udorim. I'm not sure what he says specifically Kalim, but in any event, he would send them gifts, and that's a way to try and appease him. My Omar, what did Rabbi Innocent say? He said, "Din have a dying, the asama, dying the armor." If case comes in front of this great person, I guess who is a judge, which of a orphan or of a widow, nishkach apin mefaisei loving. We'll find a way in order to appease him because we sent him this gift ahead of time. Kvinas and their cheese. Rabbi Yirmiyah said, "Cholav akum lamo aser." Why is cholav akum aser? Make b'shum tarovas behemot tmeya. It's because we're afraid that maybe milk from non-kosher will get mixed in. The tani cane, and we learned the fact that Bryce seems to indicate this. Omeid, who you saw by Eder, a Jew stands among the herd. Vakum cholev, and the non-Jew can milk the herd. Maybe low. And bring him from the milk, but the don't have to be concerned. So you see, the issue is tarovetz and there's a resolution to it. Rabbi Hu Ba b'Shem Yud Rabbi Simon Shem Mishum Malay said Chavakum Asim Mishum Gilui. It's also because it's left open and the snakes can come and drink of it and deposit their venom. V'yamid, so solidify it, make a cheese because we know that milk which has venom does not become cheese. Even it's solidified, there could be some liquid left in the nooks and crannies of the cheese, which you won't be able to, which then you don't realize that it has venom in it. The tiny cane, and we learned this. The shlosh esin, there are three types of of venom. Echad tzaf, one floats. Echad shokea, one sinks. The echad also kisafcha, one of them is like a net. V'omed le'mala, and it stands on top. The So that means that it's stands on top. It also can fill in the nooks and crannies. It says, and then it gradually seeps in. So one sinks, one floats always on top, and one seeps in. The Cormier brings down from elsewhere that has to do with the age of the snake. Rabbi Yirmiyah is gone Giksa the Sidra Ruba. In the days of Rabbi Yirmiyah, the barrel of water in the great base medrash, Sidra Yerushalmi means a base medrash, became revealed. Shasa Kamoy Mason. The first people died and drank it, they didn't die. Achroi Umisun. And the last people drank and died. Anil Shakaya, that was poison which sunk. Polaya Hava Betura, they were workers in the mountain. Isgalius Kus in the Maya, Zerkade got open. Shasuka Moevelo Misun, the first people drank and they didn't die. Akhrei Misun, the later people drank and died. Anil Shakaya Hava, that too was obviously poison which sunk to the bottom. Hashemen Bachometz, oil and vinegar, batzir, v'amurias, different types of brine, vadvash, and honey. Ain, bohem mishum gili. Evidently, snakes don't drink from this. Ebshem and oyster, ebshem and asers. But the point, Sharos no come and saw a snake actually involving himself in these beverages. Vitani Kane, and we learned that evidently the avatiach, whether it's a melon or a squash, whatever it meant back then. Avatiach shenika v'achlim men asar b'nei adam, and you have a melon which got pierced, and 10 people. Even yain is gala, and why it's going to reveal shasim men asar b'nei adam, and 10 people drank from it. So then. Asr lachav lishtos still can't eat or drink after them. And the omer er shokayava, I say that it was the poison sank to the bottom, and therefore the last people have a danger. Even the first people survived, like we just said before. Okay, that brings us to Yud Gimel.